So welcome back to our channel. So like ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I was just if you were watching on the other line before, you know that I was just taking you on a journey to what today's topic was about. This medical cannabis use. So in the US it has been done, and so many other countries. In the Netherlands it has been done also. That one is not even called medical. It's called what do you call recreational, use. So which means you can just go in straight to the coffee shop and you buy it. You get if you want receipt, you get receipt. If you don't want receipt, that's your business. So you can smoke anywhere you want without being harassed. But mostly you can smoke in the pub or in the sorry in the coffee shop, or you can smoke at home on your balcony, and nobody will harass you. No neighbor will call the cops for on you simply because you had or they smell some cannabis smell in the air. So, but this thing is worth talking about. I know that some of you who are these holy and over religious human beings, we want to have a word on this issue, whether behind the scene or front of the scene or etc. But I don't really care about that, because whatever it is, most of you who will still criticize this broadcast must have smoked marijuana before, or must have smelled it, or inhaled it before. So I would say there are so many categories of people. There are some who live with those who smoke marijuana, who have smelled it right from childhood, but they never really, have the gut to purchase it and have a twist of it or a wrap of it and smoke. Or those who don't even buy, but whenever they see that a friend is smoking, they always, have a puff at it just to belong, just to feel like, to feel social, etc. While there are some who are addicted to it, who smoke it 2, 3 times a day or even 10 times a day. Those who just cannot live without it, you know. So why do some use it as medicine, either to smoke before they go to bed, just because they can't find sleep or something. So there are these categories of people. So, but I'm not criticizing anybody. What I'm trying to say here is that there are always a bunch of people who are even carrying the religious this thing on their head, and yet they smoke it, you know, like normal business, and they are hiding, smoking it every day, every night, every now and then, because they don't want to be seen as being smoking, or some even call it a sin. So, but that one is their own business. But what I'm here to say is that Nigeria have been discussing, I mean, have been discussing about this marijuana legalization, and I fully support it for so many reasons, economically, socially, and what have you. Smoke and smoke and smoke if you want. Just like the alcohol it's no sin. It's legalized. I think that even the marijuana is less destructive than the alcohol itself. That is my own opinion. You have your own opinion. So sugar is causing much more uh, health disaster, you know, than the same marijuana, you know. So the same thing applies to so many other things like fat and etc. So there are so many things that kiss a man. So not actually just marijuana. I know a lot of people who smoke marijuana till they were 19 years, 100, and yet they still smoke it, you know. And they were actually really strong. You can see them when they walk, walk around in the community. They call some good soldiers and stuff like that. So so that was what they did during their old time. We never really saw it as anything. They smoke in our neighborhood and stuff like that. Until I came to Europe, then I saw that it was even something different. Especially here in Amsterdam, that it's actually legalized for you to to have 5 grams of marijuana, without the police, harassing you on that. So for personal use, etc. Except it's on commercial quantity. That is why you may have maybe some questions to answer. So I wouldn't know. So, but the funniest thing about all this is that just across the border in Germany, it's a crime to, I think, to have marijuana or to smoke marijuana, in public and things like that. So, but when you create a scene like that, then what are you trying to, what message are you really dishing out? You are telling the other people who smokes marijuana because you know that in your country, maybe in a place like Germany, where the population is very high, there may be about 80 to 90 million people, maybe half of the population or a quarter of the population smoke marijuana, and they find it so difficult to smoke marijuana freely in their home country or in their abode where they live, and stone throw across the border, maybe some few kilometers away, you can as well smoke freely without any problem. So what will you, what are you trying to tell that person? You're telling him to, hey, if you want to smoke marijuana, go to the next country and smoke marijuana. So they are welcome in Holland. You can come across the border, spend your money here, smoke your weed, go home. So, but don't take too much quantity with you because if you are caught across the border, that's your business. So you might spend maybe another month or two, or maybe a year in the prison. It depends. Maybe he has already gotten some warning and stuff like that without without you knowing. So he should know that himself. So, but as for those who are coming for leisure, they just come around, for the weekend, have a good time here in Amsterdam, smoke, and go back home. They are just fine. You understand? The same thing applies to people who are coming from the UK, or from Ireland, to come to here in Holland, to smoke or to have a good time. It's not only smoking that you have here in Amsterdam. You have a lot of good stuff, going on that they do come here. The tourists do like to come here to see. The city itself is beautiful. So they come here to have a sightseeing. But what I'm saying is that I'm talking about particularly I'm talking to those who actually love to smoke, marijuana freely, because there's something about smoking it while you are hiding and smoking while you are free. You see the difference. So, but I think that is the line Nigeria is trying to toe this time around. That's why I'm bringing up this discussion. Just to try to tell you that, hey, listen, you are losing out if you don't do it first. So, if Nigeria becomes the first country to do it in Africa and legalize marijuana, I guarantee you, a business will move, a business will boost. In some area. So you might be looking at me like, someone who is already high on marijuana because I'm talking about marijuana right now. But I'm not. I'm not. Believe me. You know. So I'm just saying the actual fact because I say with passion because Shawari, the former AAC or the present AAC presidential candidate, talk about it that he was going to legalize marijuana and stuff like that. People were looking at him like, oh, maybe he's just talking out of, being young and being stupid and, trying to be play tough. No, he knows what he was talking about. Because I've said it before on so many times, on so many occasions. I said, if I have the opportunity to govern a state in Nigeria, definitely the states will not need the federal government, to give them any useless license you know, to promulgate a law within their own states to do things. As long as the northern states can promulgate Sharia law in their own state without any problem, then why not me in any certain state promulgate a law in my state that will favor my state? So what I'm trying to say here is that among many other things that I might want to promulgate into the law, then definitely if I promulgate marijuana and legalize marijuana, into the law and legalize prostitution into the law of my state, for example, knowing fully well that my state is going to make a lot of money from all these things and regulate it very well, that I'm going to create a lot of jobs with this and make money from this, with great taxes and in the tax returns and things like that. Nothing will stop me actually. I will do it. I let the federal government take me to court. So at the end of the day, they will just drag on for years and years and years. Then that case will just die naturally. I will do it. I guarantee you that. It doesn't mean that if I am doing it, I will be doing it because I want to smoke marijuana, or because I want to get high, or because I want to, you know, encourage a prostitution or anything like that. Because whether you do it or not, these things are there. These things are there. We see them every day. You watch on the internet, you see prostitutes all around the streets of our cities of Nigeria, in the daytime, in the night, and stuff like that. Soliciting for, you know, for services. The same thing applies to marijuana. You know, people that smoke the marijuana from one state to the other because the price is very lucrative in another area. You know, why the area that produces this thing, because area like, for example, Abbey. They used to say Abbey those days in the Bender State. I don't know where that is. I think it should be somewhere in the Ogwashuku area also. You know, in Delta. You know, that the marijuana was very good. So I know that marijuana can be grown in any part of Nigeria, apart from the north. I don't know about the north, but you know, in any part of the south or middle belt, any green area, you know, not in the desert area. So I know that marijuana can be grown there. So if marijuana can be grown there, then why all this foolishness of and stupidity, you know, of the federal government and its agencies sometimes going about seizing marijuana, going into the farm, even they are even going to the farms, are burning farms and getting everybody high on weed for free. You know, the other day I saw this drug drug agencies. They went to the bushes, they cut down all the marijuana plants and set them on fire. What are you doing by setting them on fire? You are polluting the air, and at the same time, you are getting everybody high. Those who are not supposed to get high on marijuana, even children, you are getting them all high with the smell of marijuana. So, I mean, the whole thing is funny because the same people who are doing these things, they all get high on marijuana on daily basis. That is the truth. Soldiers, police, eh? NDSC, they all get high on marijuana. All the most of the ex-president, the military president, they all got high on marijuana. Maybe still get high tomorrow. People like Babangida and Kos, Abdul Salam, you know, you cannot say not to have gotten high on marijuana or on the joint. They do. It's a public knowledge. Everybody knows it. All these things. So, but at the end of the day, they will be the first people to be shouting, you know, to be shouting, you know, like holier than thou, and you know, trying to prove. So I don't know what they are trying to prove. In fact, because they are just deceivers and you know, hypocrites. That's what I call people like that. So, like the IG of police right now, if you go and check his background, you see that he has been a marijuana smoker for the past 20, 30 years. And he has never stopped. Maybe his whole family are still doing the same thing. So, but why all these useless laws? Because even sometimes when they seize all these people who are planting these things, what do they actually do to them? You know, they they exploit them by taking money from them and stuff. Then the next thing they still let them go. Somebody's trying to, you know, create a farm where he can make some money, little money and stuff like that to sustain his family, because that's the only thing he knows how to do. Why don't you just legalize this thing and start to tax these people? So that is why when I saw, you know, something just now on on the on Sahara on Sahara Reporters, you know, he said Nigerian lawmakers clash over fresh bill, you know, fresh bill to legalize marijuana. You know, he said the clash ensued on Wednesday when the bill was brought up for second reading at the plenary, and another member of the House, Miriam Onoha, protested that the content of the bill was the same as hers, which she sponsored long ago. Just imagine if this woman were not to be in that house now, maybe if she was already doing something else, maybe go back to business, you know, etc. Let's have somebody else will just come there and just duplicate what she has already, you know, presented to the house some years ago, and then maybe she was just pushed aside, or the bill was just pushed aside, that you know that she was not giving it the attention that she deserved as at that time. So let's have somebody else will just come and put his name on it and put his stamp on it. Then he will be the one to claim the whole this thing, the whole glory. So, but you see, that is why it's good to have documentations when it comes to so many things. It says so Nigerian lawmakers in the House of Rep on Wednesday clash over a fresh bill seeking to legalize the cultivation, sale, and use of cannabis sativa, popularly known as marijuana, in the country. It was reported that two members of the House, including the spokesperson for the House, Benjamin Kalu and Olumide Osoba, had sponsored a fresh bill seeking to amend the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLA) Act, you know, to allow the Anti-Narcotic Agency to issue licenses to Nigerians for the cultivation, sale, and use of marijuana. The lawmakers titled the bill for an act to amend the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act, CAP N30, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to confer additional responsibility, of the power to grant and revoke licenses, for the cultivation of cannabis or any of its three species, namely cannabis sativa, cannabis indica, and cannabis ruderalis, plant for medicinal purposes and for related matters. What is related matters? You see, and for, you know, oh boy. You say for recreation, etc. So we understand that, or for social. So here said the Punch report that the bill is a consolidated version of Kalu and Soba's separate bills, numbered HBS 1190 and 1918. He said the clash ensued on Wednesday when the bill was brought up for second reading at the plenary, and another member of the House, Miriam Onoha, protested that the content of the bill was the same as hers, which she sponsored long ago. But the Speaker of the House, Femi Bajamila, asked Onoha, Kalu, and Osoba to liaise, to liaise with the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar, whatever Fulata, to identify the difference and similarities between the bill ahead of sitting on Thursday, which is today. It's a record that cultivation, sale, and use of marijuana are currently outlawed in the country. However, the House in 2020 proposed legalization of cultivation, trading in cannabis for medical and cosmetic use, research purposes, as well as revenue generation for Nigeria. Why for Nigeria? It should be for the, okay, let's say for Nigeria, but it has to start from the states anyway. The Cannabis Control Bill 2020, titled A Bill for an Act to Regulate the Cultivation, Possession, Availability, and Trade of Cannabis for Medical Research Use and Related Purposes, was sponsored by Onoha. Onoha, in the bill, said relevant agencies will be empowered to regulate the growth and use of cannabis, registered cannabis growers and users, issue licenses to cannabis growers, processors, producers, manufacturers, and users, and develop awareness programs on the growth and use of cannabis. Meanwhile, if the bill is passed into law, hospitals and doctors will be allowed to prescribe doses of cannabis for the treatment of patients, while pharmacies and stores will be allowed to sell it. Pharmacies, can you imagine that? You know, so you can see to where they are going. So but whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, I think this thing might stay through, or it will stay through, because these same people, uh, all these gangsters, um, lawmakers, and whatever you call them, you know, most of them are smokers of this marijuana. Some of them smoke things that are worse than that, because when they come there, you see them, either they are sleeping, or they are fighting, or they are, you know, doing some crazy stuff. that ordinarily no normal human being wants to do. So let's not uh, let's not you know let's not underrate the essence of what they are trying to achieve by presenting the presentation of this bill. But what I see there is that if this woman, this lady, Onoha, has already, presented this thing some years ago, why would they just? I mean, why wouldn't they just go through what she brought before and so, and see to it that you know, that the similarity of what was presented yesterday, Wednesday, it's just the same thing as to what she has already presented because here it was elaborated on that it was the same thing that she presented. So while this, maybe that was just another gentleman way of saying, okay, go and sort yourselves out. So at the end of the day, maybe they'll be able to bribe each other to accept one or two things. But I know at the end of the day, maybe they will all put their signature to it and say, okay, we are. Instead of them to have just, you know, bring other stuff and just toss it and say, yes, we support this motion, for this bill to be passed into law and stuff like that, you know, because this one was a second reading. So where was she during the first reading? So that's not important anymore. What is important is that now this thing has been brought to fore and it should be taken seriously. So that is that, my brothers and sisters, and viewers. So Nigeria as it is, if a state should actually legalize marijuana, the federal government has no power, as far as I'm concerned, to dispute that law or cancel that law because the states are meant to make laws for themselves that suits them, not the federal government that will make one single law, for the rest of the country. There are laws that federal government can make for the rest of the country. That has to be in the constitution. Everything don't have to go to the constitution. So I don't know why this issue actually should be coming up in the House of Rep. This issue does not belong to the House of Rep. This issue should belong to houses of assemblies. Let those areas where, after all, Kano State and things like that, they said alcohol is not welcome. So but yet they want to collect taxes from alcohol from other states, to feed their hungry people. So is that not funny? So it's the same thing. If marijuana is legalized today in Delta, Edo, and Rivers, and Cross River, Anambra, Imo, and Ebonyi, and the rest, so be it. But don't expect me to come and give you some money or give a federal government any part of that money, to finance those people who are very holy to the extent that they don't want anything to do with marijuana and alcohol. Meanwhile, they have them, in their own bedrooms. They are getting high in their own bedroom with alcohol, marijuana, and things like that. So, but what they are saying is that others, the poor people, should not have access to that because if they have access to that, maybe they might get very agitative, and at the end of the day, you know, so strong-headed and stuff like that. So that is the only reason why they are actually resisting these things. That was why back in the days, alcohol was not also legalized in the U.S. It was a crime, to be dealing on alcohol. But it doesn't mean that they were not smoking. I mean, they were not drinking alcohols in their houses. People were having alcohol in their houses. So when you make alcohol, then when they make alcohol, then illegal, then it became very lucrative and become very very expensive. So that is it. If today marijuana is legalized in one state in Nigeria, before you know it, another state will adopt. Before you do it, another state will adopt. Before you know it, that's attraction, you know, that leads to criminality in what do you call it, in the marijuana dealing will be reduced drastically. So that is my own opinion. So I don't know what your opinion is. Do you think getting high should be free, should be legalized in Nigeria with alcohol? Why people are getting high with with alcohol with marijuana? Why people are getting high with alcohol without any problem? So if you think so, please drop us a line and let me know what you actually think about this whole thing, because I think that the whole thing is hypocrisy on the side of the federal government, especially because of their greed as well. They want to reap where they did not sow. How can a state, maybe in the south, legalize marijuana now, then for a state in the north to be getting money, for that same, you know, from that same VAT, VAT whatsoever, that is going to the federal government for the federal government to be, spend, share it, all along, let's say, all along the states of the federations. So it doesn't make any sense actually. It doesn't make any sense. You don't smoke. If you don't smoke, or you don't legalize marijuana in your own state, and you don't legalize alcohol in your own state, you don't have any business collecting money or taxes that is coming from that same area. It should be a sin, for you to be collecting it also and spending it. So you should be ashamed of yourself if you are that kind of person that belong to those kind of line of thoughts that something is illegal, something is a sin against God, and yet the money that is coming from it is therefore holy to be spent, for your own personal use it and babariga and stuff. So that's where I draw the curtain. So I'm your presenter Jay. So I'll see you some other time. Have a good time. But please, before you go, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. That is how you'll be helping us to for YouTube to recommend this video for others to. You'll be helping us to recommend this video for YouTube to recommend these videos so that others will be able to see it. So thank you and God bless you. Bye.